No problem. Yeah, please let me know if you're running out of time. Just let me know. I
No, it's
appreciate
no
you.
problem, Brandon.
I appreciate you taking so much time.
No, it's absolutely fine. I've read for years the UNH hockey blog, and I know exactly what you do, and it's awesome. And I'm glad to talk about it. And I think it's important for people to read some other stories about guys that have kind of taken a different path. And yeah, I think it's nice to see some guys that having a lot of success at UNH, and maybe it's not quite as visible because I'm so far away.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, I appreciate that.
But yeah, so going back to the teams briefly, yeah, of course, people have asked me that, especially in Finland. I've made it known throughout the season that my goal is to go back and play in the NHL, and my agent has been very proactive in talking to teams, and I have no preference where I would play. It's all really about having the GM, the coach, and the management on board. That look, we've got a guy coming in, kind of that took a little bit of a different development path, and
Mm-hmm.
he needs to be given a realistic chance, as opposed to I would hate to sign somewhere in the NHL just for the sake of signing in the NHL to be able to say that I did it, and then going and playing in the minors or whatever. I'm not. I wouldn't do that. I would probably at that point leave and go back to Europe anyway. So
Well,
certainly it's
something that you mentioned that didn't even occur to me was that the other option, very attractive option you have, is to play for one of the Russian teams for a lot more money. So it's not like you.
yeah. I mean, it would be like I said, top players in the league. They're not paying Americans, Canadians, and Swedes like non-Russians. They're not going to pay $4 or $5 million for those guys, but 2.5 to 2 is very would be something that would be very possible. So again, that money is it's real, and this is a job where I can only play for 10, 12 more years, and you have to think about your life after and what you can try to what you want to do after, or how you can live your life when you're done. So of course, as much as it's about the dream of playing in the NHL, you want to be pretty comfortable when you're done playing if you have that possibility. So
Do you ever pinch yourself and say, "Holy shit, I'm playing for hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. I never imagined this would have happened."
I mean, it's
Or did you always think that you would be able to do it?
I didn't know. I never doubted myself. I think a lot of people did. Even my career in college was good, not great. I would say, in comparison to what other people have done coming out of UNH, maybe it wasn't expected that I would have this much success. But I always kind of knew that I had the ability and to play at higher levels. And I do still think it's something that I'm really grateful for, and don't take any one day of this for granted at all, because it's pretty special what I'm able to do, and definitely really lucky to have had the and that's true. A lot of it comes down to luck and timing as much as anything else, because having gone to Finland when I did, had I signed even an NHL contract coming out of college, it's so easy to get buried in the minors, and then you're 4 years out of school, and you only play games in the AHL, and you're hoping at that point that you can maybe sign a contract in Finland or Sweden and make a little more money. But
Mm-hmm.
to be in the KHL 3 years out of school and being in the league and goals, and everything's worked out really well for me, and obviously a lot of that has to do with timing and being put in a good situation. So
It's a great story.
I can't take credit for everything.
It's a great story.
Yeah. So let me just grab the next question here. Yeah, actually, I was just talking about this. I had a meeting just yesterday with an NHL GM that came to Finland to meet with me. We won't talk about which team, but
Mm-hmm.
we talked about this, that the average size in the league is big. The guys are big players, and it's tough to make it as a smaller guy, and nobody wants to stick their neck out. No management guy, GM, or coach wants to stick their neck out on the line for somebody who's small, because if it doesn't work out, it's pretty easy to say, well, why did you sign him? The guy's too small anyway. He's never gonna make it. So I look at the names that you have down here: Marty St. Louis, Patrick Kane, Johnny Gaudreau. There's plenty of other guys. Tyler Johnson is the guy who plays in Tampa Bay, who's a really smaller guy.
Mm-hmm. Because Gerby, you played against.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Yeah, Gerby, who's as unbelievable as he was in college, is kind of just hanging on in the league right now, hoping to continue to get jobs. He's not he's an unbelievable player, but he's not a guy who's like every year knows he's going to be in the league and signing for big money. It's really tough for those guys, you know. But I think when I look at any of these players, the biggest thing that you can relate to all of them, because everybody plays differently. Marty plays differently than Kane, and Kane and Johnny Gaudreau play differently. Everyone has their own skills and unique skill set, but all those guys are incredibly competitive, and I think that's a huge part of it, because you have to be mentally stronger and hate losing more than any of the other guys on the ice, because every time you get into a battle, you're an underdog, and you have to relish that role that, okay, people don't expect me to be successful, and I need to prove them wrong at every turn. Even a guy like Patrick Kane, who was drafted first overall, is still people doubting him because of his size, and all these guys, obviously, some of them are world-class skill. Kane is arguably one of the most skilled players, in the league. But all those guys have smarts on the ice and are incredibly competitive, and I think that's the biggest thing that allows smaller guys to be successful at any level, and especially the NHL, where everything is so it's so business oriented, and if somebody sticks their neck out on the line to sign you and it doesn't work out, well then they're putting themselves at risk. So everybody is on edge when a lot of money is on the line, and championships, NHL teams are obviously all trying to win, and there's a lot of pressure for the players, and I think any of these small guys that you mentioned and guys that you didn't mention are all unique in a lot of ways, but similar in the sense that they compete every night, and they don't make excuses or say it's okay that I maybe lose this battle because I'm smaller or weaker than this other player. So,
Interesting. This is just
that's the biggest thing.
Okay. This is just an aside. Was Gordie Clark involved in scouting you when you signed with the Whales, the Connecticut Whale, or?
He was. I had a meeting with Gordie actually towards the end of my senior year at UNH. He came and watched her practice. I'm sure he had seen a couple of games. And they had some reports on me, and they liked me. The Rangers liked me, and he was a great guy. He is a great guy, and he spoke to me at length. Maybe it was an hour or 35-minute meeting, and he just said, we're not exactly sure where we stand as far as offering you an NHL contract. We'd love to have you come play, on trial in the minors, and we hope that you continue your career because we think you're a great player.
No, that's
it was helpful because even though it didn't work out with those guys, it gave me some confidence that's some guy at a high level and some respected hockey guy felt that I should continue pursuing my career, and obviously it's worked out really well for me.
Awesome. Okay.
So the last question you have, if at some point you return to the United States, what will you miss about playing in Europe? Well, it's been unique for me because I've just played in Helsinki. I've been in Jokerit for 3 years, and I think what I'll miss most is this organization, from the fans to the management, the players on the team. I have some unbelievable teammates here, some guys that have become really good friends, and the fans here, like I said originally, are just amazing. We got probably, I think we averaged like 12,000 or something a game.
Wow.
10 to 12,000 a game. We sold out tonight. Sell out plenty of games, and
Wow.
And it's a really good balance here where hockey in Finland's the biggest sport by far. It's not even close. There's no other sports that even come close as far as popularity. And we're in the biggest city, and we're the biggest team in that city. So Jokerit is the biggest hockey club in Finland, which is a huge hockey market. So it's a really good mix of kind of celebrity status that you have here, where people recognize you everywhere you go.
Really?
But it's also Finns are really quiet and respectful people, so they never bother you for pictures or autographs at the grocery store, or at the movie theater or something. They'll recognize you, but they know enough to let you live your life, and then you may see the same person at the game waiting in line for an autograph and thrilled to get a picture, but they wait for the right time to do it. So I just can't say enough about the fans here, and they've really been awesome to me. I was lucky to have awesome fans at UNH, and then I left there and played here, and they were really took me in, and like I think that's something that I'll really miss if I leave Helsinki and don't play in front of these fans and in front of this city, and living in this city. As hard as it is to be really far away from home, it's an awesome city. Like,
is it?
The size is just right. It's not similar size to Boston. Say it's 500,000-600,000 people in the city. So I know all the restaurants and everything now. It's not so big where you're lost. And it's not so small where like there's nothing to do. It's really a good size, and it's kind of become a little bit of a second home for me here in Finland, and I'll definitely miss this organization if I choose to leave at some point.
Terrific. Well, Steve, thank you so much. There are a million other questions I'm sure that I could think of, but I've taken an awful lot of your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Like I said, I think it's great to talk about these different paths that players may have, because I know a lot of guys leaving school, and maybe it doesn't work out exactly how they thought it would or whatever, and everyone doesn't develop the same way, and everyone has their own path that you got to follow. And I think it's kind of cliche, but I think if you really believe in yourself and work hard, and I'm still sometimes surprised at what levels you can reach, and I think it's a good thing that people back home, whether it be in New Hampshire or anywhere in New England, can get a sense of the different options out there for players, and people can make a really good career over here, and I think a lot of guys. John Henry right now is in the second league in Sweden, the second division, not the top league, but tier 2, and that's a really good league, and he's doing incredibly well. I think he's leading the league in goals there. I'm sure he's going to get a contract in the top league in Sweden next year, and Kevin Kapstead he started in the second league in Germany, which is
really
low level after he left UNH. He's slowly moved his way up. He's in the top league in Sweden now, and so there's a good group of guys that have UNH guys in particular that have found success and making a good amount of money over here and being able to make a career of it. So I think it's a pretty awesome thing when somebody can do what they love for a living and make a little money while they're doing it.
Yeah, it sounds like there's an awful lot of enjoyment involved, where it's not so much it's got to be a drag to be going up and down, the New York Thruway from, Albany to New Jersey, for example, 10 times the season, and, wondering what's going to happen later in the year or the next year. It sounds like a much more enjoyable playing environment.
Yeah,